is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Developing overnight, a new case of coronavirus in central Indiana closes a local school district. Right now at 6, we're breaking down the information both students and parents need to know.
And businesses are not taking any chances with the virus. This morning, how some local companies hope to protect their employees by keeping them away from the office.
Temperatures are feeling more like spring for now. We're working for you and looking at how the warmer temps could impact the spread of the coronavirus.
And it is 6 o'clock here on your Monday morning. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning Indiana.
We want to get started with weather right away. Temps are warm outside right now, but the wind is headed our way. We have some rain later today. Meteorologist Todd Clausen is going to spell it all out for us because there's a lot about to happen, Todd.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty calm right now, so as you get going this morning, there's no big issues out there whatsoever, but the wind kind of picks up, and then rain moves in later. 49 to 55 degrees right now, mild temperatures and partly cloudy skies, and the clouds are increasing already, so I don't really think you need to grab the sunglasses this morning as you walk out the door, even though there will be a little bit of sunshine to start the day, but the clouds will increase pretty quickly here across the area. Then as you look off to the west, here's where our storm system lies, and this is what is going to be heading in our direction later on this afternoon. In fact, if you look really close here, you can see a few lightning bolts on Storm Team 6 radar moving through central Illinois, and it's not out of the question tonight or early tomorrow morning that you could hear a rumble of thunder across our area, but we are not expecting any severe weather. That is the good news. So this morning it's just quiet. You get to work with no weather-related issues whatsoever. Partly to mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures hovering right around the 50-degree mark, depending on where you are. A little cooler in spots. In some areas down towards Bloomington, you're still right around 56 degrees. Just mostly cloudy skies this morning. Temperatures in the mid-50s. Eventually we get up to that 60-degree mark later on this afternoon, or even a little bit above that in spots. We'll talk more about the rain and the arrival and how long it sticks around coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes, Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic. This is our INDOT traffic camera over on the east side, I-465 and East Washington Street. You can see traffic there is moving along just fine, northbound and southbound on your interstate. Let's plan out your commute by taking a look at our Traffic Now maps. Traveling on I-74 westbound this morning from Acton Road to I-465, it's a 5-minute commute.
Now to developing details on the coronavirus in Indiana. Overnight, we learned an elementary-age student from Avon is the state's latest case. The announcement comes just hours after the announcement that a Hendricks County man was the state's second case. And those cases follow Friday's news of a Marion County man becoming the state's first confirmed case. State health officials say both men attended the Biogen conference in Boston in late February. As we just mentioned, the latest person to battle the coronavirus is an elementary school-age student from Avon.
So out of precaution, Avon schools have officially canceled all on-campus classes for today. Our Alyssa Donovan is here with us this morning with what this means for families who are in that district.
That's right. So it means some changes for them. All students in the Avon Community School Corporation will use today as an e-learning day. The Indiana State Health Department informed district staff of the results just before 10:30 last night. The infected student attends Hickory Elementary. No other information is being released about that child. Students were contacted Sunday, or rather parents were contacted Sunday night that today would be an e-learning day. Although it is not required, the state health commissioner and Hendricks County Health Department recommended Hickory Elementary School be closed for 2 weeks. Students and staff will be allowed to return Monday, April 6th after spring break. Students who attend Hickory Elementary will have e-learning days and other learning opportunities during the closure. The student is the third person in the state to test positive for coronavirus. On Friday, Governor Eric Holcomb declared a public health emergency in Indiana.
Alyssa, thank you. Now, meanwhile, Noblesville schools are on high alert for the coronavirus. The announcement comes after learning that a student's parent has been ordered to self-quarantine after attending an out-of-state conference. Another attendee at the conference tested positive for that virus. School officials say the parent is keeping their children out of school to limit exposure to other students. The parent has not experienced any symptoms of the virus, nor have they tested positive. Back here in Marion County, Indianapolis Public Schools school leaders say that they're monitoring the spread of coronavirus. They've developed a special section of their website for the district-related news on the virus. You can find a link to the IPS-related updates on the virus right now on the RTV6 mobile app. As of this morning, there have been no confirmed cases of the coronavirus within that school community.
Eli Lilly is asking some of its employees to work from home for the time being to prevent the spread of coronavirus on its downtown campus. The pharmaceutical company says it is focusing on two priorities: protecting the health and safety of their employees and protecting their ability to make and supply safe medicines for patients. The majority of workers who will stay home are office-based employees. Lilly says people who work in manufacturing and research will continue to work at the company's facilities. Lilly employs 11,000 people in Indianapolis. The company is also restricting domestic travel among its U.S. employees.
And warmer weather is on tap for central Indiana this week, but will that help prevent spreading COVID-19? The short answer is it is too soon to tell. The CDC says transmission of most types of the coronavirus slows down in warmer months. They attribute that to more air circulation in buildings and people spending less time in confined spaces. The CDC says they need to learn more about the spread of the current virus to better predict what it will do.
We're working for you and breaking down what you need to know about the coronavirus. That includes protecting your family from the disease. The coronavirus is spread by respiratory droplets. Those are created when a person sneezes or coughs. Usually, in order to pick up those droplets, you have to be within 6 feet of a person. Doctors with the Mayo Clinic say there are some simple ways to protect yourself from the virus.
The best thing you can do to protect yourself and your family from getting infected, number one, is to wash your hands. Really, as simple as it sounds, that is the most effective way to prevent illness and infection. The second thing is, if you do have symptoms, to practice what we call respiratory etiquette. That means coughing or sneezing into your elbow or into a tissue and then washing your hands well afterwards.
Doctors recommend washing hands with soap and water for about 20 seconds frequently, especially after using the bathroom, before eating, and anytime you cough or sneeze. If you don't have access to soap and water, alcohol-based hand rub is a suitable alternative.
Coming up in about 20 minutes, we'll hear from pharmacists pleading for people to stop stocking up on wipes, sanitizer, and soap.
We'll also learn why it prevents other families from taking precautionary measures against the coronavirus. We have placed all of our coronavirus coverage in one place for you to find. Just visit theindychannel.com/coronavirus.
Time right now is 6:07. In other news, IPS says it signed an agreement with the bus drivers union and says disruptions like what happened last month should now be a thing of history. In late February, about 18,000 students missed school when nearly 100 bus drivers and monitors called off work. The call-offs came amid the ongoing labor disputes between IPS and the union representing the drivers, but IPS says it's reached an agreement that includes bonuses and transition assistance for employees whose contract with the district ends in June. The agreement goes to the school board tomorrow to be signed and ratified.
Happening today, members of the Newcastle High School gymnastics team will take part in a match they had to miss on Saturday. That's following this scary crash on State Road 46 east of Columbus. The gymnasts were heading to their regional competition at Columbus East High School when the bus collided with an SUV. They were all checked and released at the scene. The driver of the SUV had to be cut from his vehicle and was airlifted to an Indianapolis hospital. Newcastle School sent us a statement saying in part a huge thanks to the administration and staff from Columbus East as they graciously sent a bus to pick up the girls and set up a room at the high school where they could be reunited with their parents. The statement also says the bus driver's actions saved everyone on the bus from serious injury, with her responsiveness in handling the bus during the incident. School officials say the driver has been with the district for 40 years.
At 6:08, protecting renters in the Hoosier State will be a big topic today at the State House. Last month, the Indiana General Assembly introduced legislation to limit how city officials can regulate landlord-tenant relations. The bill followed the passing of an Indianapolis ordinance requiring landlords to give renters a notice of their tenant rights. Today, tenant rights advocates will speak out against the state's proposal. The rally will happen at 10 this morning on the State House's 3rd floor. Meanwhile, time is running out for lawmakers to act on a bill impacting the coal industry and its workers. House Bill 1414 gives priority to the coal mine workers when they are applying for Workforce Ready grants. The original bill called for continued use of coal-fired electric plants. It would have also likely raised rates for customers. The bill was recently amended, removing provisions leading to increased costs for customers. The revised bill passed out of the Senate. It's now heading to a conference committee.
It's been nearly 3 weeks since Hoosier native Ryan Newman survived this frightening crash at Daytona. The crash was in the last lap of the Daytona 500. This weekend, Newman was spotted at the Phoenix Raceway ahead of that race. The South Bend native is being treated for a head injury and says he has no idea when he could return to racing. Fellow drivers say they had no idea that Newman was planning to attend the races in Arizona. Meanwhile, IndyCar drivers are preparing for the first race of the season. The race on Sunday is on the streets of St. Petersburg, Florida. Practices start on Friday with qualifications on Saturday. Joseph Newgarden won last year's race. He also won the IndyCar championship for the second time in 3 years. He'll once again look to make an early climb to the top of the point standings at St. Pete. And the coronavirus is, of course, on the top of IndyCar officials' minds. This morning, they say they don't plan on making changes to the race schedule because of the virus.
Well, architects are responsible for designing each building we see in communities across central Indiana. New at 6:14, Hiring Hoosiers is looking at how a program at Ball State University is teaching the importance of getting to know community leaders. Todd.
And as you walk out the door this morning, you're walking out to dry conditions. No threat of rainfall this morning, and it's nice and mild. That's another added benefit. However, as the day goes on, our rain chances will increase, and once we get to sunset and beyond, it turns very wet across the area. We'll talk all about the timeline of the rain hour by hour using TrueCast for you coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 6:11. Stay with us. We're back in just a few minutes.
Tickets. Don't miss out on the action.
Welcome back. It is 6:13, and we are following breaking news from the city's Near East Side. You can see here crews are on the scene of what was originally reported as a building fire in the 1100 block of East 23rd Street. Our photographer, Shay Goodpaster, is here at the scene. He's working to learn more information from authorities there, and as soon as he does, of course, we'll be sure to pass it along to you.
Hiring Hoosiers is RTV6's focus on connecting you with job skills, resources, and jobs.
Yes, we love to find ways that education can take you into your career. And so this morning, our Kelsey Anderson is joining us live with details on a class that's getting its students out of the classroom and into that community. Kelsey.
Well, for almost every job that you have, you're going to have to build relationships, whether that be relationships with your peers, with clients, or with community partners. And that's exactly what a class at Ball State University is teaching their students. For architecture students, building and creating is already a passion. But building things for the community with community-sourced textiles is teaching them to gain and maintain vital community relationships. The students work in the Madjax building, a makerspace in downtown Muncie, to make things for several organizations in the community. They get their materials through partnerships with Midwest Metals and the Indiana Lumbermen's Association.
The students have the ability to work with real world projects, with real community partners, with real industrial partners, and they're able to add value through design in equations that you won't normally find in the classroom. And this ties directly into the mission that we've had at Ball State University, serving the community.
Students tell me this class mixes the digital, physical, and social parts of being an architect, and that's something they wouldn't be able to get in a classroom. Now, Professor Kevin Klinger says they're always looking to partner with people in the community, whether you need something made and they can help you, or if you have materials that you think these students could use for this class. You can find all of that information over at hiringhoosiers.com. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you so much. All right, it's 6:15. We've got to talk about our forecast today. Yesterday was beautiful. No complaints. Okay, Todd, what do we expect today?
Yeah, you know, it's not quite as good as it was yesterday, simply because we'll have more in the way of wind and we won't have as much in the way of sunshine, but it is another mild day for us, and that's kind of tops your weather headlines here, as highs will be in the 60s for most of us later on this afternoon, but winds will pick up throughout the morning hours, and those winds will become pretty gusty, and then rain is in the forecast as well. So there's quite a bit going on throughout the day today, and it's starting off on the high note with the dry dry conditions. 54 degrees. That's the current temperature. That is actually up 3 degrees from last hour, and that's because we're starting to see the winds pick up out of the southwest. That's bringing the mild temperatures in, and also some cloud cover starting to move in, as these winds are going to be gusting up to about 30 to 40 miles per hour later on this afternoon. 55 right now in Bloomington. 48 is the current temperature in Greenfield. 50 in Tipton, as well as Richmond. So no matter where you are, your day is getting off to a mild start. In fact, our temperatures right now already in most locations above the average high for this time of year, which is 49 degrees. So we're into the 50s for everybody by mid-morning. We're looking at upper 50s throughout the early afternoon hours, and then throughout the afternoon and into the evening hours, our temperature gets up to 60 degrees. Keep in mind, with the time change now, our high temperatures are going to be starting to peak in the late afternoon instead of the early afternoon hours, since sunset isn't until almost 8 o'clock this evening. Here come the clouds. You see a few specks of green on Storm Team 6 radar. That's not reaching the ground. You don't have to worry about that. Can I rule out the chance of a shower in western locations mid-afternoon? No, but it's really not until this evening that this rain will start to make its way into the area. And you can see that spot shower chance by about 4 or 5 o'clock off to the west. But it's really sunset, 8 o'clock-ish onward, that this rain develops across the area. However, once the rain does start, it's pretty steady throughout the evening hours and into the overnight hours. So it's a wet stretch of weather, but honestly, it times out pretty well for us, as most of you will be home sleeping as this rain moves through. But don't be shocked if you're awoken by a rumble of thunder throughout the overnight hours. Certainly a possibility. Not expecting any severe weather, though, while you sleep. That is the good news. And some of these showers will linger into your Tuesday morning drive as well, and then they'll move out pretty quickly. So tomorrow, make sure you tune in with us, as there could be some showers lingering and a few heavier downpours to start your Tuesday. But overall, it will be a decent day once that rain moves out. Tomorrow morning, temperatures nice and mild. Once again, we're in the 40s and 50s across the area. And then throughout the day, our high tomorrow actually occurs in the morning hours, and that will be in the mid-50s. Tomorrow is not a washout. In fact, as the day goes on, we could see a little more in the way of sunshine appearing, as temperatures will be in the 40s. Your 7-day planning forecast is very spring-like in the sense that temperatures are at or above normal, but you do notice there's multiple opportunities for rain. Just know that no day is a complete washout. There'll be plenty of dry hours mixed in as well. Friday, though, looks to be completely dry with mostly sunny skies and a high right around 53. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take you up to Hamilton County right now. Here's a look at US 31 near 131st Street. Traffic's moving along just fine, northbound and southbound there. No issues to slow you down, so let's plan out your drive. Here's a look at our drive times heading in to downtown from the east side. If you start here at Post Road, heading into the north split, it's a 10-minute commute westbound on I-70. No delays to slow you down.
The road to the Democratic presidential nomination is basically a two-man race, and it's an important week in that race. Tomorrow is primary day for voters in Idaho, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, and Washington. It is also caucus day in North Dakota. Experts are watching Michigan. A state senator, Bernie Sanders, won in 2016. Recent polls show Joe Biden with a slight edge. Michigan is the so-called biggest prize on this week. It has 125 delegates up for grabs.
It is 6:20 today. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan Markle will be making what will be their final official engagement as they take a step down as senior members of the royal family. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex joining Queen Elizabeth, Prince Charles, and the Duchess of Cornwall, as well as the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge for a service at the Westminster Abbey, marking the annual celebration of the Commonwealth of Nations. If it seems a little bright tonight after the sun goes down, that's because the supermoon is at work. If our cloud cover will break, the moon will appear at 14% bigger and 30% brighter than the other full moons. In order to be considered a supermoon, the moon has to come within 90% of its closest approach to Earth. The next two supermoons this year will be held on April 8th and May 7th.
Oil prices are sliding fast. Over the weekend, Saudi Arabia announced it will boost output and cut most of its oil prices. Brent crude, the global benchmark, falling 29% to a little more than $32 a barrel. Saudi Arabia's move comes after talks with Russia, another major oil producer, to cut production fell apart. Crude oil prices make up roughly 71% of what you pay at the pump. Speaking of what you'll pay at the pump, the average gas price downtown hovering around $2.19. Over in Hendricks County, drivers in Plainfield are paying $1.93, and down in Bloomington, drivers are waking up to gas prices around $1.97.
Officers in Georgia surprised a family celebrating a birthday. New at 6:25, why their colleagues are just now finding out about that sweet moment that happened months ago. At 6:21, we'll be right back.
Budget stretches further at Mattress Firm.
Welcome back. The time right now is 6:24. We are following breaking news right now from the city's near northeast side. Our photographer, Shay Goodpasture, is live at the scene here. Shay, exactly where are you and what have authorities told you so far?
Well, right now I'm on East 23rd Street, just east of Delaware Street, where we've had a company fire here that makes magnets. The company's called Thomas & Skinner Incorporated. They've been here for over 100 years. Now, the firefighters tell me there is no danger to the community here, no threat to the community. 25 people were in the building. There are no injuries. It was a machine that caught fire, and it was contained to that machine. You could not even see flames or smoke here, but there is a lot of fire department personnel here and police department. The roads around here are blocked for the near future. Now, I'll zoom in here real quick. You can see every now and then they're washing off the firefighters with water, decontaminating them, making sure they're safe after they've been in this building. Back to you, Lauren.
Shay, thank you for that update. Something we will continue to follow this morning, but just a heads up if you're traveling on the northeast side and see those lights.
All right, we want to get to what is trending at 6 this morning. Yesterday was International Women's Day, so we want to kick things off with a little bit of girl power. So you remember these plastic green soldiers you might have played with as a child? They were probably all male. That will change right in time for the holidays. The maker of the toys, Jeff Immel, says a 6-year-old girl named Vivian asked him to make Army girls that look like women. It melted his heart like a plastic mold, and other hearts too.
All right, well, one of the last known copies of the Nintendo PlayStation just sold for a big price at auction. The device sold over the weekend for more than $360,000. The Nintendo PlayStation was a failed partnership between Sony and Nintendo back in 1991. Only 200 units were made before the deal fell through. Sony went on to come out with the PlayStation we know today in 1994.
2 Georgia police officers are being recognized for going above and beyond all the way back in January. Gwinnett County Sergeant Nick Boney and Officer Jimmy Wilson stopped to help a woman waiting for a bus. Boney offered the woman a ride home and she accepted. He learned she was trying to make it home to celebrate her daughter's first birthday. As the sergeant was escorting the woman to the car, he told Officer Wilson to go buy a cake. The officer surprised the family and then stuck around to sing happy birthday. The moment was found during an audit of body camera footage, and the officers apparently never told their superiors about that moment.
That's
that
funny.
Is so sweet. I love that.
Oh, they're probably watching back like, what is going on here?
Right. And it just gets better and better.
Oh, so cute. All right, well, the forecast has been getting better since the winter, I would say.
Yeah.
Can't complain about the temperatures walking out the door.
I know, I came home from vacation. My tulips are halfway out of the ground. Jeez, they're here in bloom early here. And today's another mild spring-like day for us. Temperatures right now are in the 50s in most locations, and we'll be near 60 degrees by the noon hour with a little bit of sunshine here this morning. Sunrise officially now at 8:05. Temperatures will climb into the low 60s here this afternoon. There could be a stray shower before sunset, but it's really sunset onward that we bring in a steady rainfall for most of the area. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. So if you walk into a store these days and discover they just put out 10 bottles of wipes or hand sanitizer, what should you do?
This morning, John Mattery shows us why pharmacists are begging you to think of others so they can come and have some too, and so you don't waste your money.
First, it was face masks that disappeared after a run on stores by nervous consumers. Well, now it's hand sanitizer and wipes, and pharmacists are now begging people to please stop hoarding. Tanisha Stewart was heading into Walgreens to grab a couple of supplies to keep her family safe.
Clorox wipes and Lysol. That's about it.
Good idea. But pharmacists are sounding an alarm because other people are buying too many supplies. The phones keep ringing.
We're still having people call about face masks. We're having people come in asking for masks. And then we've actually started having people come in wanting any hand sanitizer or disinfecting wipes that we have.
Pharmacist Troy Stinson says they ran out of masks weeks ago, but now hand sanitizer is running low. We couldn't find a single bottle of Purell left in this Walgreens store in Oakley. Pharmacists say, sure, it's a good idea for everybody to have a bottle of hand sanitizer in their home right now. But they say if you walk into a store and you see just 3 or 4 bottles of it left, think of other people and don't buy it all up.
Completely unnecessary to buy them all. Those, if you want to have one on hand, that's a good idea to have, but it's not necessary to buy all of them.
But that's what we're seeing at some supermarkets, Sam's Clubs, and Costco's. A Walmart spokesman tells us they are resupplying, saying we're working with suppliers to understand and mitigate any supply chain disruptions. Providing customers with the products they need remains our focus. But it's a lot tougher when people are hoarding. A few bottles of sanitizer is great. Stashing enough for a small army is selfish. So think of others and don't waste your money. Working for you, I'm John Matteries. Good morning, Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now in Good Morning Indiana on this Monday morning, here's a look at your 6:30 news feed. Avon schools are closed today after an elementary school student tested positive for the coronavirus that causes COVID-19. Today will be an e-learning day for all Avon students. Hickory Elementary School, where that student attends, will be closed for the next 2 weeks. More on this developing story coming up after weather in 2 minutes.
Police are investigating after a body was recovered from the White River just west of downtown. First responders were called to the trail behind the Indianapolis Zoo just after 3:30 yesterday afternoon. IMPD says what led up to that person's death is being investigated. The person's name has not been released.
Police have arrested 2 men for the stabbing death of another man in Lafayette. Floyd Smith and Joseph Wilkerson are both charged with murder following Saturday's death of Donald Alcar. The 29-year-old man died at the hospital after police say he was stabbed in the neck. The motive for that murder has not been released at this time.
Meetings begin today to talk about compensation for landowners near the planned Nickel Plate Trail. Property owners along the trail could be compensated as the project converts the train tracks into an 8-mile trail connecting Noblesville and Fishers. Meetings will be held at 2 this afternoon at the Hamilton County 4-H Fairgrounds and at 5:30 at the Hilton Garden on North by Northeast Boulevard.
West Lafayette will soon offer free feminine hygiene products in the city. Tampons and pads will be made available in all city building restrooms, including men's and gender-neutral restrooms. The move comes after Purdue University began offering them on their campus facilities. Here at 6:31, we got to get a check of our Storm Team 6 forecast. We've had some pretty warm, beautiful weather for March.
Yeah, you know, yesterday 65 degrees and sunshine, no wind. It was a perfect day. Today it's still going to be mild. That's the good news, but we do have a few flaws in our forecast as we get going on this Monday that we need to make you aware of. Now, as you walk out the door, there's no issues whatsoever. You may have to grab that extra cup of coffee over the course of the weekend here. Now that we're heading into your Monday morning commute, temperatures are going to be in the mid-50s with skies that'll be partly to mostly cloudy. So that's the good news. No weather-related issues this morning. I know you see a little green here and there on Storm Team 6 radar, but that is not reaching the ground. But as we expand out, here is the rainfall that will be impacting the area later on this afternoon and eventually into the evening hours. But most of the daylight hours today will be dry. It's more an evening rain event, although we can't rule out the chance of maybe a stray shower here or there this afternoon. But here's the good news. Temperatures will be into the mid to upper 50s to even low 60s across the area. However, the wind will pick up throughout the day today, and that's going to make it feel at least a little bit cooler. But all in all, a decent day for us. We'll talk more about the rain for tonight coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We're keeping a close eye on traffic as you're heading out the door this Monday morning. Here's the live look on the west side, I-70 near the Sam Jones Expressway, where traffic's moving along up to speed in both directions. Now, we want you to know we are following some breaking news at this hour. Fire crews are at the scene of a business fire on the near northeast side. Take a live look at your screen. Crews were called out to Thomas and Skinner just after 5:30 this morning. This is at East 23rd and Alvord Street. That's right next to the Monon Trail. The company makes magnets and has been there for more than 100 years. Fire crews tell us that a machine caught fire when it was turned on this morning. 25 people were inside at the time, but all of them got out safely. We are working to find out more information, and we'll have that for you as soon as it comes into our newsroom. It's 6:33, though a central Indiana school is closed today after a student there tested positive for the coronavirus.
Out of precaution, Avon school officials have canceled all on-campus classes for today. Our Alyssa Donovan is joining us now with more on what this means for families in the district. Alyssa.
So it's going to be a very important thing that parents pay attention right now, because all students in the Avon Community School Corporation will use today as an e-learning day. The Indiana State Health Department informed district staff of the results just before 10:30 last night. The infected student attends Hickory Elementary. No other information is being released about that child. Parents were contacted Sunday night that today would be an e-learning day, and although it is not required, the State Health Commissioner and Hendricks County Health Departments recommend Hickory Elementary School be closed for 2 weeks. Students and staff will be allowed to return Monday, April 6th. That's after their spring break. Students who attend Hickory Elementary will have e-learning days and other learning opportunities during the school closure. The student is the third person in the state to test positive for coronavirus. On Friday, Governor Eric Holcomb declared a public health emergency in Indiana.
All right, Alyssa. Well, a person in Hendricks County has also tested positive for the coronavirus. The Indiana Department of Health says the patient traveled to Boston in late February to attend a Biogen conference and developed flu-like symptoms. That person had mild symptoms and is now in isolation. More than a dozen COVID-19 cases have been tied to that particular Biogen conference nationwide, including a Marion County man who was Indiana's first case of the disease. The state's health commissioner is now asking for Hoosiers who attended the Biogen conference to self-quarantine at home, monitor for any symptoms, and notify the local health department if they develop a cough, fever, or shortness of breath.
Also, Noblesville schools sent a notice to parents last night saying a parent has been told to self-quarantine. That person attended an out-of-state event last week where another person tested positive for the virus. District officials say the parent will keep their children at home as well to avoid exposing others. So far, that parent has not shown any symptoms. However, family did attend baseball and swim events at Noblesville High School this weekend before the parent became aware of the need to self-quarantine. Officials say there is no need to panic, but if you are at those events, you should be vigilant in watching for symptoms.
At 6:35, Eli Lilly is asking some of its employees to work from home and prevent the spread of the coronavirus on its downtown campus. The drug company says it's focusing on protecting the health and safety of their employees and protecting their ability to make and supply safe medicines for patients. Most workers staying home are office-based employees. Lilly says the people who work in manufacturing and research will continue to work at the company's facilities. The company is also restricting domestic travel among its U.S. employees.
Well, it depends on what you mean by optimistic. We certainly, now that we have tests out and get a better handle, but clearly I'm concerned about community spread. You have to realistically be concerned about community spread.
One of the nation's top infectious disease experts says the worst of the coronavirus outbreak has not hit the U.S. yet. From cruise ships to a conservative political conference, more coronavirus cases are popping up coast to coast. The number of cases in the U.S. surged over the weekend, spreading to 34 states. At least 22 Americans have died. ABC's Andrew Dimbert tells us top health officials say a widespread closure of a city or region in the U.S. may still be possible.
The numbers on coronavirus continue to climb. In the U.S., the total infected now topping 500, and lead health and government officials issuing widespread warnings on travel.
Right now, not wait until things get worse. Say no large crowds, no long trips, and above all, don't get on a cruise ship.
Off the coast of San Francisco, stuck at sea.
We will arrive at some time on Monday.
Over 2,400 passengers on board the Grand Princess cruise ship preparing for port. At least 21 on the ship tested positive for the novel coronavirus.
We're basically on board a floating petri dish.
Meanwhile, Republican Senator Ted Cruz and GOP House Rep Paul Gosar are placing themselves into voluntary self-quarantine after briefly interacting with a person who has since tested positive for coronavirus at CPAC in Maryland last month. In Washington, the state with the most deaths from the outbreak, the nursing home that had at least 16 confirmed dead now says they have enough testing kits for all residents. New York State seeing a spike, including one school district in Westchester County where a teacher tested positive. The Scarsdale school now closed until March 18th as a result. States are turning to the federal government for help, many critical of the response.
The CDC, I believe, was slow to begin with. They were not ready for this.
The president's task force not ruling out the possibility of shutting down a city, as other countries like Italy have already done.
Anything is possible, and that's the reason why we've got to be prepared to take whatever action is appropriate.
And President Trump maintains that the risk to Americans still remains low and says of his own potential exposure to coronavirus, he is not concerned at all. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, Washington.
Well, a program at Ball State is helping students build connections in the community. Up next, our Kelsey Anderson shows us what they're doing to go beyond the classroom and build partnerships for their futures. It is 6:39. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Hiring Hoosiers is RTV6's focus on linking up with skills, resources, and jobs. And we love to find ways that education can take you into a career.
This morning, our Kelsey Anderson joins us live with the details on a class that's getting its students out of the classroom and into the community where they're learning to build important community relationships. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So in this class, Ball State students are working with local organizations to build tangible things that they need for the community. But this class goes beyond benches and tables, and it's taking these students into the community and building those important relationships. In an 88,000 square foot building nestled in the middle of downtown Muncie, Ball State students are hard at work.
The studio is entirely student-driven.
Students working towards their masters in architecture are getting a first-hand experience in creating.
We're going to start fabricating these different elements.
But creating is already a passion for these students. The main takeaway for them is learning to build community relationships.
It's really taught us how to interact with the different community partners because we're working with Midwest Metals and other professionals.
Something Olivia Zepp says is preparing her for a career post-graduation.
Working with all of the moving parts and the different people I'll have to be contacting and having the professional manner that you don't learn in a typical classroom.
Ball State partnered with Mad Jacks, the makerspace they work in, along with Minnetrista, Midwest Metals, and the Indiana Hardwood and Lumbermen Association.
Having all of these different materials to accessible to us, plus this machine shop that we have here, allows us to explore things not just in the computer and in paper and in a theoretical fashion like we would in most classes, but we've been able to go hands-on as well.
Kevin Klinger says that they're always looking for community partners up in Muncie or even down here in Indianapolis. But he says you can reach out to them if you need them to make something for you or if you think that you have materials that these students could use. For more information on that, go to hiringhoosiers.com. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. So far, this coronavirus outbreak is not slowing down March Madness. Coming up, what we know so far about the plans for one of several big basketball events happening downtown this month. Todd.
The good news is today is going to be nice and mild for us, back into the 50s and 60s. The bad news is it's going to be fairly windy with some gusts up to 40 miles per hour. And once the rain starts this evening, we do have rain showers in the forecast almost each and every day this week. We'll break it all down for you coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast. The time now, 6:44. Stay with us. We're back in just a few minutes.
Trusted by vets for nearly 20 years.
Welcome back. The time right now is 6:46. Here's a live look in the downtown area. I-65 and I-70 at the North Split. Traffic is picking up, as you can see by all the headlights moving across your screen. No delays here downtown to slow down your Monday commute.
Tomorrow's Democratic presidential primaries could be make or break for the campaign of Senator Bernie Sanders. Sanders needs a win in a state he won 4 years ago to stop the momentum of former Vice President Joe Biden. ABC's Zareen Shah has more on the 6 states casting votes tomorrow.
We're going to win this election.
Overnight, Senator Bernie Sanders storming through Michigan.
We're taking on the political establishment.
Rallying crowds before tomorrow's primary, critical for stopping Joe Biden's momentum.
And on Tuesday, if we stick together, if we bring our friends out to vote, we're going to win it again.
Sanders trailing Biden in support among black voters, landing a key endorsement from the Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Bernie Sanders can win, will win, must win.
But Biden picking up several key endorsements too, including Michigan's governor.
It was the Obama-Biden administration that helped out the auto industry in our toughest moments. And because of that, everyone in Michigan benefited.
And a former rival.
So join me in supporting Joe, and let's get this done.
Senator Kamala Harris marking Biden's 9th endorsement from the once crowded Democratic field. Meanwhile, President Trump over the weekend taking aim at Biden.
We cannot win this re-election. We can only re-elect Donald Trump.
Retweeting that video with Biden's words taken out of context. Twitter then labeling the video manipulated media, part of a new effort by the social media company to reduce deceptively edited videos. But Biden and Sanders may have more than just political attacks to compete with on Tuesday. Growing fears about the coronavirus threaten to deter people from heading to the polls in Washington state, one of the biggest states up for grabs for tomorrow. Zoreen Shah, ABC News, New York.
Well, a lot of basketball is set to be played this month here in Indianapolis. Virus outbreak.
Right now, Bankers Life Fieldhouse says its scheduled events will not be changed while officials there continue to monitor the outbreak.
That means the Big Ten men's tournament will begin on time as of now. IU opens Big Ten tournament play Wednesday night against Nebraska. Purdue plays its first tournament game Thursday night against Ohio State. The Big Ten Network did announce that it would keep its studio show in Chicago rather than broadcast it from the Fieldhouse, but play-by-play game crews will still work at the arena. The Big Ten women's tournament went off without any coronavirus interruptions this past weekend at the Fieldhouse. On Sunday, top-seeded Maryland grabbed the league's automatic bid to the NCAA women's tournament, beating Ohio State 82-65 in the championship game. Both IU and Purdue are expected to get at-large bids to the women's tournament next week. It was a good but close game for the Pacers and Victor Oladipo last night as they beat the Dallas Mavericks on the road. Indiana led most of the game but was down by 5 with 3 minutes left. That's when the defense and Oladipo came through. Vic scored the team's final 6 points to win the game 112-109. The Pacers back home tomorrow against the Boston Celtics. But again, no cancellations have been announced by the NBA due to the coronavirus. Here at 10 till 7, let's check in with our Monday forecast and Todd.
You know, it's not a bad forecast. There's a couple flaws, which I'm going to tell you about here, but we're looking at temperatures today climbing back up into the 60s. For most of us, that's the good news. Nice quiet start to our day here for your Monday morning commute. And as you walk out the door, you're walking out to temperatures that are very comfortable. 54 degrees right now, but the wind has been picking up already this morning. Now, winds sustained at 17 miles per hour out of the south-southwest, and these winds will continue to climb. In fact, they'll peak later on this evening, right as the rain starts to move in, right around 30 to 40 miles per hour. So that's enough to cause some inconvenience. It's not going to be pleasant to be outside with the wind and the rain later on today, but it's all rain. That's the good news. We're not talking about any wintry weather, and those winds will not be strong enough to cause any power outages or limbs to come down. So that's what I mean by more of an inconvenience than anything. But look at these temperatures. Pair of highs in Bloomington, 56 in Martinsville, 52 in Tipton, as well as Peru. These temperatures have come up over the last few hours, so that's good news, an indication that those winds are starting to bring in the warmer temperatures, and also the cloud cover is moving in. Our featured dog of the day today in your dog walking forecast is Alexi, sent in by Cindy's. Thanks for sending Alexi in, and we're in good shape with the forecast for today. We're going to give you green paws throughout the day, and temperatures that'll be topping off right around 60 degrees in most locations. Some of you will be climbing up into the low 60s later on this afternoon, and some of you to the north probably stay in the upper 50s. Either way, you are above normal. But the clouds continue to increase, and you see a few specks of green here and there, which would indicate some rain, but that's not reaching the ground. What will reach the ground eventually is this big batch of rain off to our west. This will have the potential to put down some decent rainfall totals later on tonight. Earlier today, we had a few thunder and lightning across parts of northern Illinois, and a few of those thunderstorms could be a possibility here later on tonight. So this evening, the rain moves in. I think we're basically dry with the exception of a spot shower until about 8 o'clock, but once that rain starts, it is with us throughout the entire overnight period. Here are those few spotty showers off to the west as we work our way into the evening, and then here's the steady rain throughout the overnight hours. Here are the rumbles of thunder will be a possibility as the front moves through tomorrow morning. So your Tuesday morning gets off to a little bit of a rough start here with the potential for some heavier downpours across the area. But then the day gets better. Tomorrow morning, we're still in the 40s and 50s. It's mild. And then as we go throughout the next couple days, it's going to be decent. There will be some rain chances Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but the temperatures stay above normal. That's the good news. And we're not looking at any all-day rains, and we'll time out many dry hours through the next few days. Then once we get to the weekend, a little bit cooler, but seasonable with high temperatures right around 50 degrees. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We are keeping a close eye on traffic this morning. Here's a live look at I-465 and I-69 on the northeast side. Traffic really picking up in that area, but everything is traveling up to speed. No crashes here to slow you down.
The coronavirus outbreak impacting the U.S. from coast to coast. Next hour on Good Morning America, 2 honeymooners quarantined aboard a cruise ship. Plus, Dr. Jennifer Ashton answers your questions live.
Well, she did it 42 years ago, and now she says she wants to do it again. But will one of the most famous magazines in the world go for the idea? We'll tell you what it is coming up after the break.
Airing Hoosiers only on RTV6.
Welcome back. Well, she isn't doing it for the reason you might think, but a music legend says she wants to make a return visit to the place where she made history more than 4 decades ago.
Dolly Parton says she wants to be on the cover of Playboy. She was the first country singer to be on the cover of the magazine in 1978. Parton told 60 Minutes Australia that she'd like to be on the cover again next year when she turns 75. She says, I thought it would be such a hoot if they'll go for it. I don't know if they will. We'll just have to wait and see.
I know. Love that. All right. We got to get a check of our forecast today. We're starting a new work week with some pretty warm temperatures this morning.
Yeah, you know, temperatures in the 50s right now in most locations. Highs today going into the 60s. It's dry right now and it's dry for most of the day, but that rain will move in this evening. And then once it does start from 6 o'clock onward, it's pretty steady with highs right around 60.
All right. We're back in 25 minutes and throughout Good Morning America.
All your news throughout the days on the RTV6 app. Have a great